blue dots, but the dots continued to expand and expand. Samantha decided to go to the vet with her dog Max eventually. When the vet saw Max, he immediately looked shocked at Samantha and asked her why she waited so long to bring Max in. Samantha felt a cold feeling through her whole body. "Am I a bad owner?" is what she thought. But things got more and more dramatic. When the vet told her the bad news about Max, Samantha burst into tears. Samantha fell down on her knees when the vet started to explain what he had discovered in his tests with Max. He had held off on explanation everything for a while now, as he wanted to be absolutely sure that his findings and conclusions were accurate. But now, there was no way around it anymore, and the vet knew that Samantha needed to know the truth. Samantha's thoughts immediately went back to that fateful day when Max ran away from her. She knew that this must have happened there. And the man who had found Max clearly had something to do with the state her poor puppy was in now. She wanted to confront him so badly, but her focus first had to be on Max and helping him get through this. But Samantha learned that only the man in question had to answer to save Max. It was risky, but Samantha did not care. She was ready to confront this demon head-on. But what caused the blue spots on Max's tongue? What did the man who found him have to do with them, and would Samantha be able to save her puppy in time? Samantha had never seen anything like this before. She had only recently adopted her new puppy Max and was over the moon with her joyful companion. She tried to spend as much time together as possible. But this did not prevent her from losing sight of him on one of their walk outside. And these small lapses of focus would have immense consequences. She had been talking to one of her neighbors who was out on a jog. Maybe Max saw something that caught his attention as 1 second he was calmly lying down next to Samantha, and the next he suddenly jolted away. Samantha had not anticipated this at all and did not have a tight grip on the leash. Within a second, she had lost control of her puppy. Samantha started running after Max as fast as she could, but the dog was much quicker than her, and it did not take long before it disappeared into an alley. Samantha followed it in there, but did not see or hear the dog anymore. She started to panic. Max was too young to listen to his name, so Samantha had to think of something else to find her dog. She started to shout, "Help! Help! My puppy ran away!" And she did this until she heard somebody respond to her about a minute later. The voice shouted back that there was a puppy in their garden. And sure enough, when Samantha came into the garden, she quickly spotted Max lying down in the garden. She could not be more relieved, but did not realize that her worries had only just begun. She picked Max up and cuddled the puppy as hard as she could. She thanked the man 1,000,000 times for finding her beloved puppy and then quickly took him home again. They probably both needed a rest. Max was a lot more quiet than usual, which signaled to Samantha that her assessment was right. But in reality, there is something else going on with her puppy. At home, Max quickly went to his favorite sleeping spot and dozed off within a minute. Samantha planted her ass down on the couch and started watching a show. But she also dozed off and, to her surprise, was able to sleep for 2 hours straight. And in all that time, it was clear that Max had remained unmoved. This was not like her puppy at all. Max was always a restless ball of energy, and his naps during the day rarely exceeded half an hour, maybe an hour at best. She understood that he could potentially be tired, but this was much more than she expected. Concerned, Samantha decided to try and wake Max up. After seeming a bit dazed, Max reacted very happy to see his owner, and he stuck out his tongue. That is when Samantha saw it. She almost jumped back in pure surprise. She had never seen anything like this before, especially not on her puppy. The dog's tongue was covered in blue spots that Samantha could swear had not been there before. Had Max maybe eaten something like blueberries that had collapsed his tongue? Samantha quickly started to check if the spots could be rubbed off. But this was not the case as expected. These spots were embedded in Max's tongue and clearly had come from it reacting to something. Now Samantha started to get really worried. Could Max be sick, or had he maybe eaten something that was dangerous to his health? Max seemed more tired than usual, but not much else gave a signal that there could be anything wrong. Unsure of what to do next, Samantha decided to try and ask the internet for help. Max could not be the first puppy to which this had happened, and she turned out to be right. But what Samantha found online also did not exactly calm her down, as there were plenty of explanations to be found for the phenomenon. Some are a lot worse than others. It was clear that Samantha was not going to find out exactly what was wrong with Max by just looking online. She needed an expert opinion for this, and the only person who could help her with that was the local vet. The man had already seen Max once before when she had him checked out and chipped. She needed to make an appointment right away. Samantha hurried through the doors of the veterinary clinic, Max cradled in her arms. The receptionist immediately noticed the urgency in her eyes and gestured her toward the examination room. As they waited for the vet, Samantha gently stroked Max's fur, trying to soothe both the puppy and herself. "He's been so lethargic," she explained to the nurse, "and there are these odd blue spots on his tongue." She opened Max's mouth gently to show the nurse. The blue spots stood out starkly against the pink, a mysterious anomaly that deepened Samantha's worry. The vet, Dr. Matthews, entered with a calm, reassuring presence. He began examining Max, feeling his limbs, checking his vitals, and looking closely at the blue spots on his tongue. Samantha watched every move, her heart pounding with anxiety. "He's been unusually quiet and sleepy," she added, her voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Matthews nodded, his expression focused and professional, yet kind. Max looked up at him with tired eyes, as if understanding the gravity of the situation. While Dr. Matthews continued his examination, Samantha recounted the events of the past few days. "He just ran off suddenly during our walk, and then these spots appeared." Her voice trembled as she spoke. "I'm worried I missed something important, something that could have caused this." Dr. Matthews listened attentively, occasionally asking a question or nodding. Samantha felt a mix of relief and anxiety, grateful for the vet's thoroughness, but fearful of what he might find. After a thorough check, Dr. Matthews looked up from Max. "These spots are quite unusual," he said thoughtfully. "I haven't seen anything quite like this before." Samantha's heart sank. The vet's puzzled look was not the reassurance she had hoped for. "We'll need to run some tests," he continued. "It could be a reaction to something he ingested, or perhaps a more complex medical condition." Samantha nodded, her mind racing with possibilities and fears. "We'll start with some blood work and a few scans," Dr. Matthews explained, detailing the upcoming tests. "These should give us a clearer picture of what we're dealing with." He reassured Samantha that they would take good care of Max. "It's important we get to the bottom of this," he added, sensing Samantha's growing distress. "We'll do everything we can for Max." Samantha felt a small sense of relief amidst her worry, trusting in the vet's expertise and the hope that these tests would bring answers. In the small office beside